Let me give you my honest opinion on BioComplete 3. So if you don't know, BioComplete 3 was the first formula to combine probiotics, which are friendly bacteria, prebiotics, which are the food that bacteria eat, and postbiotics, which, among other things, are short-chain fatty acids that actually are one of the key components of feeding the cells that line the large intestine, called colonocytes. So why did I do this? First of all, most probiotics never reach their intestinal site where they can start growing. Why? Because probiotics are usually killed by gastric acid. So what I did was use spore-forming probiotics that cannot be killed by gastric acid, that can actually make it to the colon, where most of our friendly bacteria live, untouched, and then start growing there. But the problem with just taking probiotics, even if they can get to where they need to be, if you don't give them what they want to eat, then they won't grow. As I tell my patients in my Palm Springs clinic, let's suppose I sell you grass seed probiotics, and you come back 3 months later and tell me I didn't sell you any good grass seed because it didn't grow. I go, well, did you water it? No, you didn't tell me to. Well, did you fertilize it? No, you didn't tell me to. Well, what did you expect was going to happen? It's the same way with probiotics. And having researched what probiotics are and what they need to eat for over 25 years, I can tell you that you could take all the probiotics in the world, they won't get to where they're going to go, but you've got to feed them what they want to eat. And so you have to add the proper prebiotics to that formula as fertilizer. We now know that short-chain fatty acids, like butyrate, are essential for colon health. Why? Because the cells that line our colon, 80% of the food that they eat is butyrate. 80%. They could care less about oxygen. They could care less about carbohydrates. They could care less about proteins. They want short-chain fatty acids, butyrate, and that's what they eat. Now, sadly, after measuring thousands of people's gut microbiome and measuring butyrate in their stool, I can tell you, as many of my other colleagues will tell you, that most people are not making butyrate. All right, so why don't we just swallow butyrate? And you can see lots of butyrate supplements on the internet. The problem is butyrate has to be delivered to the colon. So if you swallow butyrate, it will be taken up long before it ever reaches the colon. So I designed a formula that nano-encapsulated butyrate, so it could actually be released in the colon. And that's why it's the first three-pronged approach. Now, on the internet, you hear, well, there aren't enough bacterial count in Dr. Gundry's formula. Let's be clear about this. You could take 100 billion probiotics, and none of those guys are going to get to where they need to go because they're going to be killed by gastric acid. So it's not the count that matters. It's the type of bacteria that actually can reach it. You could take all sorts of prebiotic fiber, but quite frankly, most prebiotic fiber is going to damage your gut rather than be something that they can eat. The prebiotic fiber in BioComplete 3 is what these guys need to eat. And finally, you could take all the butyrate you want, but unless it's delivered where it's needed in your colon, it's absolutely not going to work. And I'm excited to say we were actually the first to bring this three-pronged approach to the market. And it works. The amazing thing is it's our usually number one selling product for many years. Why does it work? Because it works. Now, patients tell me all the time, this is the one thing that absolutely changed my life. You know, I hear complaints that it's so expensive. Well, to formulate this the way I wanted it, it's expensive for us to do this. But I insisted that this is how we're going to do it. And we get such amazing feedback that that's the way we're going to keep it. But the good news is there are plenty of ways to save big. You can join my account. You can subscribe and save. And because I care about really getting this to you, just sign up for our emails and you'll know when BioComplete 3 goes on sale. Finally, when it does go on sale, make sure you get the multi-jar packages. And best is to do the subscribe and save. You'll lock in whatever that sale price is for the rest of when you want to continue this subscription. And the great news is you can always cancel at any time and no penalties. So that's how I made BioComplete 3. That's why it's made, and that's why it works. And why we know that? It's almost always the number one selling product for Gundry MD for a really good reason. You've told us it works, and you keep buying it because it works. You know, our customer support team are so good, they've actually won awards. And many of my patients, one of the first things they tell me when they see me in the office is how great the customer support team is. Can you imagine saying that about other customer support systems that you've had to deal with? So the team is there for you. They're based in the USA, and they're part of why joining Gundry MD as a subscriber is so useful. The other great news is they're real people. You're not going to be chatting to AI or a chatbot. So the important thing to remember is we didn't just say, wow, I wonder if we could make a formula that's got probiotics, prebiotics, and postbiotics all in one formula, and let's put it together, slap it together, and try to sell it. No. Remember, I've been doing this in the clinic for 25 years. I've been studying the microbiome long before people even heard of it. And this is my formulation that took years to develop because I knew exactly what we needed to do. And that's a very difficult thing to do. The good news is we didn't release this product until we proved to ourselves, to me, that this product actually did what I needed it to do. If anything like this actually existed, we wouldn't bother to make it. But I knew the need was so real, based on 25 years of patient experience, that we finally combined these three very important ingredients, probiotics, prebiotics, and postbiotics, into a formula that accomplished what seemed to be the impossible.